Rich Dad Poor Dad Cashflow Quadrant Summary. Cashflow Quadrant. There are two types of people. To comprehend the differences between rich and poor fathers' reactions, you must first comprehend that there are two types of people in the world: those who view the world through the left side of Rich Dad's Cashflow Quadrant and those who view it through the right side. I've been teaching on the Cashflow Quadrant for a long time. This will be a review for some of you. My goal is that for others, it will be the start of a shift in their financial thinking. The Cashflow Quadrant is divided into four types of people, two in each category. The Cashflow Quadrant's left side. ES and SS are on the quadrant's left side. They are the ones who pay the greatest taxes and exchange their time for money. And each of them has an ownership mindset. E is for employee. The letter E stands for employee. The most important thing for employees is security at the end of the day. My poor father had spent his entire life as an employee, and all he wanted was security. He couldn't understand why I wanted to be a business owner and investor because of this. Nothing seemed riskier to him than that. Employees don't feel the need to learn about money or how it works since they are afraid of taking risks. For them, school is about acquiring the necessary skills to obtain a stable, well-paying job with excellent benefits. As a result, my poor father enjoyed working for the state of Hawaii. Employees look for higher-paying employment when they require more money. S is for self-employed. The letter S stands for self-employed. People in the self-employed quadrant are poor employees who believe that no one else can do it as well as they can. They prefer a sense of security, but they have a higher risk tolerance, so they don't mind working for themselves. Many like it this way since it gives them a sense of control over their destiny. Doctors, attorneys, dentists, accountants, and other service-based firms and consultants make up the S quadrant. They have very high standards for their job, and as a result, delegating to others is difficult for them. They don't like to hire staff because no one can do it as well as they can. As a result, they earn money only when they work. They don't own a business, but they do own a job. When self-employed people require additional funds, they hunt for additional hours to charge. The Cashflow Quadrant's right side. BS and IS are on the right side of the quadrant. They pay the least amount of taxes and establish or invest in assets that generate cash flow even while they are sleeping. B stands for business owner. The letter B stands for business owner. Business owners, unlike those in the S quadrant, do not own a job. They have a system or a product that generates income even when they are not actively working. Because they realize they won't be able to succeed on their own, business owners seek out people who specialize in the abilities the company requires, as well as those who are more talented and skilled than they are. They try to delegate as much as possible rather than doing everything themselves. The most successful business owners understand that they may leave their firm for a year and return to find it profitable and performing better than before. Business owners are sometimes portrayed as risk takers, yet from a business owner's perspective, being an employee is the riskiest because employees have no control. No one can force a business owner to make layoffs or terminate an employee, but no one can take the business away from him or her. And, in the event of a downturn in the economy, the business owner has the most power over making the company work and survive. When a company needs more money, it develops a new product or acquires a new money-generating method. I stand for investor. The letter I stands for investor. In the Cashflow Quadrant, investors have the best financial education. They are skilled in locating assets that produce consistent income in the form of cash flow, and they frequently use other people's money, OPM, to do so. They then utilize the profits from those assets to buy new assets, so increasing their wealth through money velocity. They get the largest tax breaks, don't have to work if they don't want to, and don't have to manage staff. The world's wealthiest people are investors, and on average, 70% of their income comes from investments, with the remaining 30% coming from wages. When investors require additional funds, they look for a way to acquire an asset that generates more passive income. The cost of freedom. The price of choosing security over freedom. The line between the two sides of the Cashflow Quadrant is the dividing line between people who are financially struggling and those who are prospering. As I've already stated, the salaries of the poor and middle classes have either remained constant or decreased during the last 2 decades. Individuals on the left side of the quadrant, on the other hand, continue to believe they live in safety while viewing those who own enterprises and invest as risk takers. The unfortunate reality is that those who operate on the left side of the quadrant pay more in taxes and interest on the debt for liabilities as their income increases. It's a vicious cycle that keeps people in poverty, which I refer to as the rat race. To understand why ES and SS don't get rich, you must first comprehend the differences in their financial intelligence. Those on the right side of the cash flow quadrant pay the least in taxes, understand how to earn money with debt, and use their assets to hedge against inflation. They not only earn more than employees and self-employed people, but they also keep more of it. Those on the left side of the quadrant earn money through their employment. It is the most heavily taxed source of income. They have few, if any, tax shelters. Those on the right side of the spectrum work for passive income, which is the least taxed type of income. They can take advantage of numerous tax benefits in the tax code. Transitioning from the left to the right quadrant. What's keeping you from moving forward? What's keeping you from crossing over from the left to the right quadrant? When I discuss going from the left to the right side of the cashflow quadrant, I frequently hear people remark, "I wish I could do that, but it's just not possible for me right now." When I question why, I get a variety of responses. However, there is a common thread that runs through all of them, a completely different perspective than those who work on the right side of the quadrant. Transitioning from the left to the right quadrant. Here's some advice on adjusting your thinking if you want to go to the right side of Rich Dad's cashflow quadrant. The research was done a while back that revealed the thinking of those who went from poverty to wealth. 3 factors were identified as deciding factors. They had a long-term vision and strategy. They were proponents of delayed gratification. They took advantage of compounding to their advantage. They also looked at persons who had been prosperous but had fallen into poverty. The following were the 3 things that played a role. They were only able to see in the short term. They desired immediate pleasure. They took advantage of compounding strength. Simply said, the journey to the right side of the quadrant begins with the acquisition of assets that provide passive income rather than living paycheck to paycheck. Begin small, be patient, and watch your fortune develop over time.